Chairman, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the United States government, I want to thank the government of Jamaica and the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction for hosting the 7th Regional Platform for Disaster Risk Reduction in the Americas and Caribbean. I also applaud efforts of all participants in this platform toward advancing implementation of the Sendai Framework for Disaster Risk Reduction to reduce the impact of disasters in the region. The United States has stood with the people of Haiti in the aftermath of the 7.2 earthquake on August 14th and has led many relief and recovery efforts in collaboration with international partners. The earthquake was a tragic example of a multi-dimensional disaster, as it occurred during hurricane season in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic and endemic gang violence. Now more than ever, a need to work together to advance disaster risk reduction across all hazards to reduce loss of lives, livelihoods, and property. President Biden has called the climate crisis the #1 issue facing humanity. Climate change affects the intensity, location, duration, and timing of climate extremes, leading to an increase in disasters and food insecurity and further eroding a nation's capacity to cope. While the world's most powerful have the tools at hand to curb the climate crisis, it is the world's most vulnerable, particularly children, women, and those caught in or displaced by disaster or conflict, who so often suffer the most from our changing climate. The United States government remains committed to climate change adaptation, both at home and abroad, as part of our disaster risk reduction efforts. The compounding effects of climate change and COVID-19 underscore the need for renewed collective action and new strategies that will minimize disaster impact and enhance disaster risk reduction capacities at all levels to adapt to climate change and achieve resilience. To address these challenges, the United States government continues to support disaster risk reduction programs in the Americas and Caribbean region. Examples of these efforts include the U.S. Geological Survey and the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, collaborated with partner countries to provide technical capacity building in addressing risk reduction related to volcanoes, earthquakes, and landslides, including technical assistance in the eruption of the Soufriere volcano earlier this year. The Federal Emergency Management Agency engaged in mitigation projects in the United States Virgin Islands, focusing on building codes and standards for flooding and seismic events, as well as community emergency response training in Bahamas. USAID and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration collaborated with the Dominican Republic, Haiti, Mexico, and Belize to advance storm surge warning in the Caribbean, with an intention to expand these efforts for the Caribbean region and to advance weather-ready nations in the region to save lives and property and enhance livelihoods. U.S. Peace Corps volunteers work to support disaster preparedness, climate change, agriculture, and help local communities to strengthen climate disaster risk reduction and change adaptation. And the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers cooperated with local partner water agencies on water resources management, dam safety, flood and drought management to advance risk reduction efforts. These examples reflect the United States government's commitment to reducing disaster risk and promoting climate change adaptation and resilience. We have made significant progress, but we must continue working together to further reduce disaster risk in the region. Thank you for the opportunity to address this community, and I look forward to our discussions in this important gathering.